Cade is a bucket. I still want to see him play small forward because it is night and day between him and Ivy when Ivy is running the offense. I'd rather Cade focus on being the best two-way player he can be. I have mixed thoughts on that, but I wanted to see what you thought first, and I'll chime in my thoughts. If you haven't, if you don't, I can go.
Yeah,
no big deal.
I definitely do. I'm trying to put them together the right way. I understand why people say that. 6'7", big body player Cade is. Even if he did play small forward, that would be an advantage for him. But I don't think that's necessary. I really don't, especially when I don't think he's proven as a shooter enough yet, and he's their best playmaker and passer still, I believe. I think he still gets a good role with Duren in their pick and roll sets when they have spacing around them. I feel like that plays. Now, if you want to work with Cade in certain increments as a small forward, fine. You want to stagger around and, use Ivy as your point for a little bit in certain stretches, maybe bring in Burks. I can see that. I can live with that. But I've seen people have this conversation like, Cade, play him full time. Nah, bro. I don't think that's his game at all. He's a good player. He started off as a small forward in high school. He transitioned very well in college, and I think, up to this point as a pro, he makes passes for a young player that you just don't see. He does a very good job of anticipating, and I feel like there are ways that you could use him. For me, I've been begging for this since last year. Put him in the post.
Yep.
And that doesn't have to be a small forward move. You can easily just take him off, let him rotate along the baseline, and then post up in front of Ivy or whoever else and get the ball on the block. That'll get him to the free throw line. That'll put the defenders on their heels. It'll take his turnovers down.
Right.
When he gets ripped up, it's at the top of the key when he's dribbling too much.
Exactly.
Put him close to the hoop. You solve for that. I don't think you need to play him as small forward, but there are other ways you can use him to get the value out for him and other guards.
I like that. This de facto heliocentric point guard stuff. Nah.
No.
I'm not with that. I feel like you can use them together. I think they can both mix and match the same way Joe D and Isaiah did. It's a different game now, I understand. But I mean, as far as having two capable guards, I will say this. I think because Jaden is more raw. Cade is more polished.
Right.
NBA player. I think I will say because of Jaden's measurables, his ceiling is quite high. Quite high. Right? His athletic ability. I think Cade is ahead of him right now, but I think Jaden has a chance to really catch up. And I think when it comes to learning the offense, I think that's when we will see that balance start to come into effect as far as who has the ball in their hands more. I think Jaden is going to eventually have more and more and more responsibility playing with the ball in his hands to a point like 40-60, maybe even 50-50, right? That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. I want to see unpredictability on offense. That's one thing that the Pistons used to do all the time. That's what Joe D used to do with Isaiah. It's unpredictability and ball movement. But you made a great point about the post because that's what Big Brother used to do. That's Big Brother's game.
Right.
Cade Cannon was actually the one who initiated Cade moving to point guard because of his vision. Right. Because of his ability to see the floor and not get sped up. Right. And that's when they started working with Ashton on his ball handling and all that. But that was, like you said, that was later in the game. But I think you make a great point. It's like there are ways to get him closer to the basket to make him more effective. But it doesn't have to be this way or this way all the time. I don't like that. Like people keep saying, Luka Doncic, no, bro, they're not the same. Just because they're both 6'7", and just because they both have, they're not the same guy. It's not the same player. It's not even the same offense.
I hated that comp when it came out of college.
I did too. And I know Cade loves him as a player, and I do too, but they're different. Yes. They're different types of players. So that's what I want to see. I want to see Cade kind of slowly giving some of the keys to Ivy to allow him once the trust is there, that he's not going to turn the ball over and he's going to get you a good shot. I think once Jaden has that trust developed within his teammates and the coaches, that's when you're going to see him with the ball in his hands a lot more. But I think that's his biggest thing is just decision making. Right, and knowing what decision to make off of an action. I think that's a big thing for him. You can run a set, okay, yeah, fine, but what are you going to do now when this breaks down? What's your secondary action? Things like that. That's when he's going to make that jump, and that's when you're going to see that kind of balance out between who has the ball in their hands win.
And we thought we would see a lot more of a glimpse with that with Monty holding the clipboard with this whole .5 offense and whatnot. All we're seeing is the same offense that he was doing when Dwayne Casey was here. Cade brings the ball up court. He dribbles for a few seconds. He'll maybe get a screen, pull it back, give it to Bojan, or when Killian was starting, throw it to Killian. Then they throw it right back to Cade.
Yeah,
and he's
I know.
scrambling around trying to find a shot. Like, that is the worst kind of offense to use, bro. He's way more valuable than that. Like, you can use creative sets. Again, you want to take him off the ball. You don't want him to bring the ball up and initiate the offense off top. Fine. I'm totally fine making that adjustment, especially with how comfortable and quick Jaden Ivey picked up the ability to be a primary decision maker with the basketball. Like, when he showed that you could do that, you should have said, okay, cool. We can find some creative sets to make this backcourt work. And it has. But they just don't try it enough. It just seems like Monty just sitting away like, all right, y'all got it. He literally looks like he's just watching them play the game. Like, no, call a set, tell him to screen off, like use things to just get them the ball in different areas. It don't always have to be ISOs at the top of the key because they keep getting in trouble like that.
Yes, that's where the turnovers happen.
Destination restoration. Harder than MTV and Y2K. You don't want to see buffed up Y2K. Breaking records set by Michael J. Bringing glory days back to the future, Michael J. He's way ahead of his time, he's got a plan, yeah. Led off by none other than his brother Cannon. If this is more than a game, it's a passion. While they sleep, we working, cause I'm action.